the mothers here, the mothers in global Africa, the continent, the diaspora, we doff our hearts, to you. We came from you. You kept us, protected us in your womb, and guided us through our life course. So we owe you an honor, all mothers and mothers-to-be everywhere, especially in global Africa. So, sir, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this wonderful forum. I'm going to be speaking about just two things, two interrelated things. And the first is global African unity. We don't get anywhere when we are divided, when we plow our narrow furrows, when we operate in silos. We don't get anywhere. All people in other parts of the globe are getting together and are moving on. The continent is all divided. And there is no organic unity between the continent and the diaspora. A few years ago, that was when I had just come to Canada, I ran into a black student. And as soon as I saw her, my knee-jerk reaction was, "Oh, you look like one of my cousins." And I blurted it out to her. She looked at me from head to toe, and in a very dismissive tone said, "I am not African." I was transfixed. I was shocked because I had come here with all this idealism of African unity, right? And somebody is telling me that she looks like my niece or my cousin. She said, "Well, she's not an African." So I tried to gather my thoughts, and tears in my voice, I said, "I'm sorry. I didn't want to make you an African. I only said you look like one of my cousins." And then she left. That was about, probably late July. And then in September, my first class, and who was this person entering my classroom? I pretended I didn't see her. I didn't remember what happened. So if she had an opportunity to walk back, she would have done so. She came in and kept quiet. So as the semester progressed, we were talking about race and racism, the global racism and all that. And then I told an anecdote. I didn't mention her name. I didn't bring that incident into the thing. But I did say that many of us are afflicted with the disease of lack of self-confidence. And it's not entirely our fault. We've been taught, retaught, that the African race has done nothing, contributed nothing, to the global stock of knowledge. That our color is ugly, that we are inferior, and unfortunately, many of us have internalized that concept and become what? A kind of inferiority complex that is afflicting many of us. So I did say that I don't blame people who do that, because they have very little control. The literature, because Africa doesn't control the global knowledge industry. The global knowledge industry is controlled by powerful white men. This is not a and the criticism against white men. White men didn't sit there somewhere and conspired to oppress, non-white men. It's simply the way systems work, systems of power work. If you are in power, you do things in such a way that you hold on to that power. If the tables were turned and women were to be, the dominant group, they would do things in the same way that we men do, consciously and unconsciously, to control women. So there's no conspiracy theory here. So because the knowledge industry, the media, literature, everything is controlled by those who are in power, and those who are in power are not us. They create that image that dehumanizes, devalues us. And unfortunately, many of us have internalized this. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit to talk about women, all right? Because of course, this event is about the contributions of women, and especially African women, to our global stock of knowledge and this and all that. The Ghanaian educationist and philosopher, Dr. Quist-Adade, observed that if you educate a man, you educate an individual. However, if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. What this tells us is the utmost importance of education for our girls and our women folk. Because Africa, global Africa, rests on the shoulders of our women. So if you have educated women, chances are that they will make sure their children, their offspring also are educated. So there's one can emphasize more the need for education. If I were to have the opportunity to interact with the leaders of the African Union, I would tell them that the education of women should be a priority, because everything would then trickle down to everybody. Kwame Nkrumah, who was the first president of Ghana, also made an observation which speaks to the importance of women in national development. He said the level of the consciousness of women, right, is the index to measure the level of development of a nation. So, once again, the importance of our women folk in the development of our society is beyond overemphasizing. I want to leave you with one thought. Nkrumah said, the close lens fought between Africans and people of African descent over half a century of common struggle must and strengthen us. For although our outward forms of struggle may change, it remains in essence the same: a fight to death against oppression, racism, and exploitation. And I must add, a fight left against sexism. Sexism in any form, whether it's sexism within our own community, black community, or globally speaking. It is a fight, a common struggle, as our friend said about intersectionality, all right? The fight must be taken, on the footing of intersectionality. That is, our multiple disadvantages must be acknowledged, and they must empower us, all right, to fight the multi-frontal battle against oppression. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.